What's up, guys? Hope everyone had a great weekend and is off to a great start this week. So, today I wanted to go over a big topic that I know a lot of people probably struggle with. If you're an adult living in modern times, you probably deal with some level of stress. And I wanted to talk about how stress can impact fat loss, some of the misconceptions around that, and then some actionable steps that you can take to help reduce stress so you can have an easier time building a healthy, lean, toned, strong body. So, most people think that stress magically causes like this hormonal response that leads to fat gain, right? So I'm sure you've heard people talk about cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So the common misconception is that, oh, if I'm stressed, then I'm just going to gain fat and it's going to make it way harder for me to lose fat. So then it's easy to kind of turn stress into like this scapegoat, right? So does stress actually cause fat gain? The answer is very nuanced. It's like kind of, but not directly. So when you're stressed, your body doesn't just hold on to body fat as like this magical defense mechanism. Because if that were true, people who are in war, right? People who are fighting wars every day would be coming home overweight and chunky, right? When people go off to war and they're in this very stressful situation where they're, getting shot at, they're dealing with life or death situations, no one ever comes back from war overweight, right? People come back from war, they look, sickly or stressed. They lose weight not just because of the activity, but because they're under such high stress. They're not focused on eating food. But again, the misconception is, oh, when I'm stressed, my body will hold on to body fat and make me gain fat easier. And that's just not directly how it happens. There's much more nuance to that. When we're stressed, it puts our body into a fight or flight uh, state. When you're in a fight or flight state, your body, your metabolism is not going to prioritize fat burning and muscle building. Your metabolism will actually pause, like sort of what I like to call elective functions, and prioritize keeping you alive. Okay. So if I'm talking too fast and you guys have questions or anything's unclear, just let me know. So when you're stressed and you're in fight or flight, your body will pause sort of unnecessary functions like burning body fat and building lean muscle. And it will prioritize pumping blood, breathing, your lungs, your organs, because it thinks you're in a life or death situation. The issue there is that your body responds the same way to stress, regardless of what the situation is, because your perception of stress is what dictates your body's response. This is very, very important. Your perception of stress is what dictates your body's response, not the stress itself. So, for example, if you are driving on the highway and someone cuts you off, if you're someone like me, I don't really care. If someone cuts me off, I'm like, that person was annoying, and I move about my day. For someone else, if someone cuts them off, they might get really, really upset, really mad, stressed. They might be flipping the person off out the window, cursing, they can feel their blood pressure rise. It's the same exact event that happened, the same stressor, but the person who gets super amped up about that, your body goes into fight or flight and it's shutting down fat burning, muscle building, and it's just prioritizing getting you through that situation because it thinks you're in a life or death situation based on your perception, based on your response. Okay. Now, take that and think about chronic stress, the stress of, you know, a job that's always stressful. financial stress, relationship stress. Think of stressors in your life that are sort of ongoing and chronic. If you're living in fight or flight, your body is constantly just prioritizing survival and it's not prioritizing fat loss or muscle building. So now you might be saying, all right, well, Adam, if that's true, then doesn't that mean my body is magically making me gain body fat? No, because if stress caused you to not eat, you would lose weight even if you were super stressed out. But as we've talked about before, just losing weight isn't a good thing because if you're losing muscle, it's damaging to your metabolism. So, perception of stress is the problem, not stress itself. So, whether you're going through family stress, physical stress, financial stress, career stress, relationship stress, whatever stress you have in your life, how you perceive it is what is controlling the physiological response your body has. So if you're someone who gets very anxious or high strung about situations, your body is going to react like you're in a life or death situation, even if you're not in a life or death situation, because your body doesn't go, oh, uh, Adam is acting like he's in a life or death situation, but we know that it's just this, it's work that's stressing him out. So we're going to behave accordingly. It's like, no, no, no. Adam's acting like he's really stressed out and we're in danger. So we're going to act like we're in danger. We're going to shut down fat burning. We're going to shut down muscle building. We're just going to prioritizing pumping blood to the extremities and controlling his breathing. But what that does is, remember, you're pausing fat burning, you're pausing muscle building, you're just focusing on survival. So your body is in a more vulnerable position to gain fat if you overindulge on calories. And what do a lot of people do when they're stressed out? They go to food or alcohol to cope. So that's the nuance. Stress doesn't cause fat gain. Stress puts you in a vulnerable position for fat gain, and then your behavior and your response to stress is what causes fat gain. So if you are stressed, you're in a vulnerable state for fat gain. But then if you decide to use food for comfort, overindulge, go out to eat multiple times a week, stress eat, skip workouts, now you're gaining fat, but you're gaining fat because you're skipping workouts because you're overindulging, not because of stress itself. So what's the solution there? The solution is we have to come up with tactical ways to prevent everyday stressors from sending us into fight or flight. We have to control our perception of stress so that we're not constantly getting put into fight or flight, making us more susceptible to fat gain. We need more control of our emotions, which is what we've talked about from day one, is being able to control our emotions and tactical ways to control how we react to stress. So this is not to downplay or dismiss the stress in your life. It's to understand that you can still have control of your physical outcomes based on how you choose to respond to stress and controlling your baseline level of stress. Now, when you get put into that fight or flight, it actually only takes your body 90 seconds to process and release those stress hormones. So let's say you're working, you're having a normal day, and you get an email from your boss or from a customer or from a coworker or from a client, and you go into fight or flight. You get super stressed out. You are going to go right into that mental space of anxiety and stress. If you can process those feelings in the moment, you can actually release those hormones and not stay in fight or flight longer than 90 seconds. But what do most humans do? They just react. They don't process, they react. You get that email, you go into fight or flight, and maybe you start overthinking. You start ruminating. This draws out the stressful process longer, right? So now that stress that could have been processed in 90 seconds is drawn out for hours, days, sometimes weeks. And while that's happening, it's not like the other stress in your life stops. you're gonna just keep piling on to that stress over and over and over again. So you get that email from a customer or a client, it sends you into fight or flight. Now you're overthinking about it. You're worried about losing a client or losing a customer or your boss firing you or getting in trouble, whatever it is. You're not processing that, and then you're also trying to do your work, and then you got to take your kids somewhere, or you've got a parent that needs your help with something, or you've got a friend who's being dramatic about something. Whatever stressors you have in your life, you have to pay your bills or whatever's going on. Now it's just piling on. You're living in that fight or flight, and a lot of people, they just go to, I don't, they skip their workout, or they don't put in as much effort, or they're really stressed out and they're like, oh, that I'm gonna go eat something yummy, or try to numb this, right? And that compounded over time is what leads to fat gain. So it's not stress magically causing fat gain in your body. It's the perception of stress. And then how are you reacting to that stress? How are you trying to comfort or numb from that stress? So what can we do? What is the barrier we can put up there between when the stressful thing happens and then when you react? What is the habit that you go to towards, after that stress? Because your perception of the stress is usually due to some sort of emotional trigger or trauma. So you can't really control your natural reaction, but you can control your next action, what you do after that. So to give you guys a personal example, for me, I'll be totally vulnerable with you guys because a lot of you guys are vulnerable with me. Um, I provide for a family of four. My biggest fear is that like I'm going to go out of business and not know how to provide for my family. That is my own trauma and emotional trigger from growing up poor and watching my parents struggle. So there's been a lot of times in my career where I've gotten very emotional, very stressed, very high strung because I get a message from a client who is feeling discouraged, right? They're not saying anything bad about me. They're just feeling discouraged. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to help this person because I have to provide for my family. I genuinely want to help them also, but like I get all stressed out. But picture that happening multiple times a week and then, having a slow month and then, having an unexpected expense pop up in the house. I was living in fight or flight. And it was all because of this disastrous, catastrophic thinking of around, oh my God, this is going to affect my ability to provide for my family. My kids are going to grow up in this stressful environment that I grew up in, all this stuff. So, what I started learning to do is I have to do two things. I need proactive stress reduction tactics, and I need reactive stress reduction tactics. I need daily tasks that I can do to put myself in a better mental headspace so that I can handle the stressors of the day. And I need reactive strategies for when I get triggered that I can turn to. So, as far as proactive goes, there are some things that we're all doing that, or you should be doing, that are going to put you in a better position to handle stress. It's going to be making sure you're eating enough calories and balanced meals, making sure you're getting enough protein, making sure you're getting enough sleep. Those are some proactive things. If you're prioritizing good sleep, you're eating 3 to 4 balanced meals a day that are protein focused, you're getting your workouts in, you're putting yourself in a much better position to handle stress. So if you're skipping your workouts, you're indulging, you're not tracking your food, you're not prioritizing your meals, and then you're also being like, oh man, I'm stressed out all the time. You're putting yourself at a handicap, right? It's like you're going into a fight with one arm tied behind your back. Some people both arms tied behind their back. If you're staying up till midnight scrolling on TikTok, and then you're waking up at 5 a.m. and you're skipping breakfast and you're starting your day with caffeine, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be less likely to handle stress. So then your reaction is going to be your reactive strategies are not going to work. You need your proactive strategies. Proactive strategies are going to be your nutrition, your workouts, and good sleep. If you want to take it a step further, having 2 to 3 things that you can do within the first 30 minutes of your day to make you feel amazing, that's going to be, a game changer for you. But that doesn't matter if the other stuff isn't going well. So you got to get your nutrition on track first. You got to make sure your workouts are on track. And then you can go, what are a couple of things I can do in the morning to set myself up in a better headspace? It could be listening to music that puts you in a good mood, drinking a glass of water, eating a balanced breakfast, going for a walk, doing your workout, doing some meditation. Pick two things that you can start your day with. For me, I'm not saying that this is for everybody. I'm not recommending anyone do this. This is just what I found I enjoy. I do like a cold plunge in the morning, and I take my dog for a jog or a walk, and then I eat a balanced meal. I do that within the first 45 minutes I'm awake. So from when I wake up to when all that stuff is done is 45-ish minutes. I feel ready to start the day. I don't look at social media. I don't start working. I don't answer messages. I don't answer emails. I have to get that stuff done to feel like I'm ready to start the day. I feel good. And I used to not do that for years and years and years and years. I would hit snooze a bunch of times. I would go on social media right away. I would start working right away. I would chug coffee, and it was horrible. It put me in a horrible mental space. Have a couple of things that you a solid morning routine, a solid sleep routine, workouts, nutrition. Now you've got a very solid base of proactive stress reduction tactics that you can lean on to put you in a better position to handle stress. Then you need your reactive. What are you going to do when you've got all your baseline things handled and then something triggers you? How are you going to handle that? What is something you can do in that moment? And for me, it's that 90 seconds of deep breathing. Because remember, it takes your body 90 seconds to process these hormones. So if you get stressed by a trigger, if you can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth for 90 seconds over and over, what that does is it tells your body you are safe and it processes the stress hormones out. It is like fucking magic. It's in through your nose, hold, out through your mouth for 90 seconds on repeat. Because what that does, if you can put your body in that state where you're controlling your breathing, when you're able to control your breathing, what do you think that tells your body? It tells your body that you're safe. Because if you were in a chokehold, you couldn't do that. If you were getting chased by someone with a butcher knife, you couldn't do that. If you had a rabid dog chasing you, you couldn't do that, right? If you were in a car accident, you couldn't do that. If you can sit completely still with no distractions for 90 seconds, 1 minute and 30 seconds, if you can sit there, breathe in through your nose, hold, breathe out through your mouth, it tells your body on a physiological level, on a hormonal level, that you are safe and everything is okay and that you're not in a life or death situation. You can then go to the next step, think a little bit more clear, and you can run through that 3-step process that we've talked about. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And what is one productive or positive thing I can do next to get closer to how I want to feel? So you get a work email, you get a text message, you get a call that stresses you out, or you're having a really busy day. You're taking care of your parents or your kids or your grandkids, and you've got work piling up, and you're going through all this stuff. You have all these ruminating, catastrophic thoughts in your brain. You just feel high strung. Fucking shut the laptop, put the phone screen down, sit there, hands on your lap, close your eyes, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can do this in your car parked, obviously not while you're driving. In through your nose, out through your mouth. 90 seconds. You're going to feel more relaxed. You're going to be able to say, okay, what am I feeling? I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling angry. Okay, why are you feeling that? Because this happened and it triggered my fear that I'm not enough. It triggered my fear that I'm going to be alone. It triggered my fear that I'm unworthy. It triggered my self-limiting belief that I'm hopeless and I can never accomplish this goal. Okay, but is that what's actually happening right now, or is that just my perception? It's my perception. What can I do next? What is one positive or productive task that I can do right now to get me a little closer to feeling how I want to feel? Maybe it's stepping away from the laptop and just doing a lap around the house. Maybe it's having a glass of water. Maybe it's going to do that workout that I had scheduled that I was planning on skipping. Maybe it's eating that lunch that I should have ate 15 minutes ago, but I should probably eat that now to put my body in a more relaxed state. We have our proactive habits that put our body in a better physical state to handle incoming stress. We have our reactive habits or reactive tasks that we can do when stress pops up to pull us out of fight or flight and put us back into a more mindful space. Stress does not magically cause fat gain. Stress causes an emotional reaction that leads to you being in fight or flight, that makes you more susceptible to fat gain. But then your choices, your food choices, your choices to skip workouts, your choices to stay up too late and distract or numb with social media or distract or numb with food, then put you in a space where you're more likely to gain because you're going to overindulge on calories and not burn as many calories. Does this make sense to everybody? Do we feel like we maybe have some tactical stuff to focus on this week when it comes to putting ourselves in a better position to handle stress and to be less reactive to stress and more proactive? Does anyone have any questions? All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming. Like always, I hope this was valuable to you. I hope you can take some of this, think on it. One thing I heard recently that's really stuck with me, and I'm trying to take it and convey it to you guys is information without behavior change is useless. Taking in this information is awesome, but if you don't actually change your behavior, it doesn't mean anything. The best way to get more intelligent is to take new information, process it, make sure you understand it, go apply it. Go apply it this week imperfectly. Just go engage. Just go start doing it. Don't question it. Don't overthink it. Just go take the stuff we talked about, go apply it. Go do it, mess it up, make mistakes, whatever. But then do it and collect data. Oh, I did what Adam said. It made a difference. Okay, I'll try it again. I did what Adam said and it didn't make a difference. Let me go back to him and ask him, hey, I tried this. What can I do better? Right? Learn, but you have to actually do it before you dismiss it or before you adjust it. Okay. Thank you guys. You guys are the best. I'll talk to you soon. As always, if you have any questions, let me know.